remains Tier 2. Efforts to get an update on the investigations from Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander and Police Commissioner Alista Guevara have so far proved futile. A day after the controversial closure of the breakfast shed, cooks are now fighting back. 3 vendors have threatened legal action against the Urban Development Corporation, while politicians across the political divide are calling on the government to save what they describe as a cultural landmark.
For me, it's not a surprise, but it's painful. Because I eat after last week. They told me that they couldn't, the rent was too high. They couldn't pay it after the pandemic. They said to me also too that customers declined. They said equally also too they couldn't pay usually cost $22,000 a month because according to that they had to make $200 per day minimum to be able to pay that.
Those were your 6 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at the top of the hour right here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network.
The Morning Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong.
Wednesday morning, a brand new day, brand new month. It is the 1st of October 2025, not the 31st of September as suggested yesterday for a moment by one of the callers. I had to kind of almost recalibrate. I was scratching my head saying that. I didn't realize we changed up the dates, but nonetheless, folks, it's a great day. Well, again, it's October. This month we have obviously Miami Carnival, there's Tobago Carnival, lots of activities. Of course, I believe Diwali is also somewhere there in the mix. It's going to be an action-packed month, and by all means, I'm hoping and trusting that all goes well for you in this month of October. The year 2025 is sprinting away, and we are on the home stretch, would you believe? Jason Williams, that's my name, JW signing on as we get ready for the latest installment of the Morning Brew. Let's sit back, relax, enjoy. For those at home and for those on the move, safe travel on the gravel as always. We head to the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today, Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. And as it says here, bright and bold, Dragon Dance. After high-level talks, our Prime Minister was able to, I would imagine, negotiate and cordial conversations there. You can see all smiles with the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. This is a far cry from what the headline was in April. Matter of fact, we're looking at some of the details coming out subsequent to the meeting. You're seeing there, the Dragon could now dance. There were high-level talks on national security, energy security, and economic security. So let's, again, read this together. Subsequent to the meeting, the government of Trinidad and Tobago was informed that the Secretary of State supports the OFAC. That's right. It's back on. Remember, it was put on our back burner a couple months ago. And as you can see via the footage there, Prime Minister traveled to Washington, D.C. yesterday with her delegates. And the Dragon can now dance. But let's take you back to the headline earlier on this year, where it was said the Dragon was dead, right? So the Dragon was dead. Then for some reason here now, whether CPR was performed, whatever they would have done via the conversations, the Dragon is now back in the fold, and the Dragon could dance. As a matter of fact, the energy minister had some commentary, and we'll read his particular post before I give my perspective on this latest development. Dr. Rudal Munilal, energy minister, says, quote, "It's a great day for Trinidad and Tobago. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has delivered the most telling achievement in obtaining the U.S. government support for our renewed proposal to resurrect." That's right, resurrect, folks, because remember, it was dead. The Dragon project, which died at the hands of Stuart Young and Keith Rowley. In 4 short months, the Prime Minister has delivered a profound and most remarkable contribution to our economic recovery, end quote. Now, the dragon could dance, but my question is, will the dragon dance alone, or will the dragon have a partner, a Venezuelan partner to dance? Because I would imagine the irony of all of this is, based on our public utterances and the fact that we are in full support of the military presence in the South Caribbean Sea, which clearly angered Venezuela, who we have to do the tango with, the cha-cha-cha, to make this dragon become viable. I guess the irony is now, well, we'll have to, I guess, change the tone. It's going to be a delicate balancing act, pleasing the U.S., and finding ways to get back into the good books and into the, I would imagine, cordial framework with Venezuela, because remember, this really boils down to what President Maduro decides. Now, we saw, and it wasn't something I'm seeing here out of turn, it was quite clear to see he was very chummy with the last administration, so much so I remember there was some footage with former Prime Minister Rowley and Maduro and a couple of cultural dancers and cultural people within the Venezuelan, I guess, cultural space, literally dancing cha-cha-cha, and people bailing and spinning and all smiles, and everybody was all hunky-dory. Of course, we have seen a different kind of tone. Not getting into that because, you know, that's on a different level, and that's within the geopolitical space, and they will know how they operate. And we have seen in politics where people, whether it be on the local front or even overseas, they'll be sending words at each other today, and tomorrow they holding hands and conducting business. So there is still that room, and there's the potential for the dragon to indeed dance, as mentioned here by the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. But I would imagine it will now require some diplomatic posturing, change of tone, and coming to the table to get this off and running. Could we see that development within the weeks, months, years ahead? Only time will tell. But nonetheless, the green light is back on, and as mentioned, the dragon can dance. We're looking at the development here with the teacher who went missing over the weekend. If you could put back that front page, he said he went to the hotel to hide after threats. I mean, remember yesterday when I mentioned he was there in the hotel, people's imagination started to run wild. And I said, no, let's hear from the teacher himself before we draw any conclusion. And apparently, he said, you know, he was hiding. You know, he went there from since last week, and last Friday, I believe it was. He was found alive in a hotel there in St. Helena. And I'm just saying that, you know, next time at least let somebody know what's going on. When you see you make when you make a move like that and nobody knows your whereabouts, yes, we're living in a time where people will raise the alarm and they'll go into a place of darkness and worry, because we understand, we are fully aware of the Trinidad and Tobago that we live in. It's a beautiful place, but it could be a very bitter place also. Mr. Maharaj, teacher, come on, please don't put your family through that again, all right? Just a little more transparency, I think, going forward. I'm watching a development here in the Guardian. When you get your Guardian, I want you to head across to page 16. It's a cause for concern. The irony is, right where there's a big sign of no dumping of garbage in Union Hall, that's where the garbage is being dumped. I've always seen that time and time again, where literally there's a big sign somewhere, don't litter here, right? No garbage dumping here. And that is exactly where people put the garbage, the old mattress, old fridge. I mean, it's a real eyesore. And it's right there in Union Hall, a matter of fact, in San Fernando. And we know Union Hall to be a beautiful community, and this is a cause for major concern. And I want to bring this to the attention of the authorities in the Southland. They didn't give the exact street, but clearly folks in Union Hall know exactly where I'm talking about, and this, not nice. I've always found that to be so ironic. Exactly where they put the no dumping is where people just put the garbage. It's unbelievable. Let's head to the back page and see what's happening. It's a mention of cricket via the former Prime Minister, and I guess you can read it up. It's on page 46. We're looking at what happened there with the West Indies and that whole Nepal series. I couldn't believe, I mean, Nepal, you know, you're thinking, as I would have said all week, you tell yourself, okay, is Nepal a foregone conclusion? We should be able to rally through, but goes to show when you face 11, you face 10, how much ever you face on the field, just who wants it on the day, and nothing is given in this modern time now when it comes to sport. It's really who shows up on the day. Quick reminder, our next World Cup qualifying match, which is a must-win for Trinidad and Tobago, is on the 10th of October. In 9 days' time, we head across to Bermuda by their National Sports Center for, well, I'm seeing here they've gone with the T&T Calypso Kings. That's now the official name, and we're coming up against Bermuda. Again, 6 p.m., the 10th, a must-win for our national men's squad. Let's head now to the brief on this Wednesday morning. Imagination brought to life. Belmont Freetown Cultural Arts and Folk Company doing a performance there at the Queen's Hall last Saturday. It's all part of their cultural explosion, and beautiful picture, really catching the performers there in full flight, literally. And search for missing man in Guanapo Forest yields no result. It's really sad, this particular development, and we have to again say kudos to the men, women, all those who are part of the Hunters Search and Rescue. I mean, they do amazing work. I would love a day that they don't even have to go out because we do have people missing. But until then, when they show up, if you have a family member missing and these guys show up, there is at least a sense of somebody's on it. They're taking it serious and they're going to leave no stone unturned until they get a result. And I hope they're able to break this particular case. Again, kudos to all those brave men and women who are part of the Hunters Search and Rescue team. Let's get ready for our conversation. We again deal with the budget, the wish list this time around. We're looking at the perspective, well, the budget through the lens of national security. Former National Security Minister, and well, he also, well, at one point in time, as you all know, would have, been wearing the hat of police commissioner. So we're going to get a little chance to touch base crime, the economy, and the budget wish list. Gary Griffith joins me next.
Built to Last has a massive sale on roofing materials, including standing seam. Invest in durable roofing sheets at unbeatable prices. Choose our supply and installation package and enjoy huge savings on your roof. Quality materials, quality prices, quality workmanship. Our name says it all. Built to Last, for roofing that is built to last. We will not be beaten on price. Enjoy free delivery and free roll forming on standing seam and guttering on site. Call us now, 355-7703.
Get a loan at Bremont. The process is simple. Fast and efficient approvals. Receive funds within 24 hours once approved. And no penalty for early repayment. Located at 4 Gallo Street, Woodbrook. Remember, we like to lend.
Shiklisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Shiklisha Limited, 665-3336.
Join Pastor Gino Jennings for our second Trinidad and Tobago Holy Convocation at the Centerpoint Mall, Centrum Auditorium, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Services are Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, Centerpoint Mall, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. For information, call 267-989-9189.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Former Minister of National Security Gary Griffith joins me on the Zoom line to unpack, of course, what would be a very critical, pivotal budget. We don't know the figures, but we have seen over the years a lion's share goes to national security. I suspect that will be the same. But the question is, how do we channel these funds to all the different arms and the agencies that keep the country safe? And where's the priority at this point in time? Mr. Griffith, great to see you as always, Gary. Welcome.
Good morning. Always my pleasure. Good morning to your many viewers and listeners.
Well, you know, every association, whether it's prison, fire, police, welfare association, we have them on the program, and people, you know, especially the top brass within the different agencies, they're calling out for more attention, especially when it comes to the fire service. A matter of fact, their President Guy would have mentioned that it's almost at the brink of collapse, the fire service, that is. A couple stations, major stations across the country without appliance. You know, conditions leave much to be desired. So through your lens, you know, you've been there, you've been in that particular seat, and you're very much in tune with the country and where we are at this point in time. We know a lion's share will go towards national security, but more so, where do you believe we need to put a major injection right now to at least bring a level of normalcy and give the citizenry a feeling of, okay, we have your back?
Well, yeah, good morning again. I would like to believe that after a political party was in opposition for 10 years, they would have done immense homework to prepare for this situation. That is their first budget after 10 years being in government. And by doing that, when it is you have to look at budget allocation, it cannot just be pumping in billions and billions of dollars, and then the country is not going to see the returns. When you look at the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of National Security, it is seen as two ministries where it's not income generated. Unfortunately, because the Ministry of Health can easily be, if you look at health tourism, if you look at Guyana, for example, with over $100 million US they make annually through CPL, and thankfully I think with Dwayne Bravo now coming as a sport ambassador, we can generate income. As it pertains to national security, we don't have security tourism, but what we can do is it is important that the heads of the protective services and the line ministers, they try to find ways to reduce corruption, wasteful spending. For example, as I found out, over $100 million per annum wasted annually in overtime corruption in the police service. And so things like that, you have to find ways to reduce wastage, reduce corruption, and then utilize those same funds to the many things that are required. If that is done, it will be a step in the right direction. The previous Minister of National Security has made the present Minister of Homeland Security look like James Bond. Fitzgerald Hines did everything possible under the sun to divide the country and not be able to maintain the many things that are required throughout all arms of the protective services. So Roger Alexander and also Minister Sturge in the Ministry of Defense, they have their work cut out trying to revamp the many things that have been shut down, dismantled based on incompetence, bad management, even political pettiness. And we could look at the damning vessels that for 10 years they were not used. We speak about the importance of the borders, the importance of bringing in drones, the National Operations Center, an $80 million US project that can turn so much to transform national security, not used for the last few years. The shutting down of the police app, the online reporting, these elite units such as the Special Operation Response Team. Then we look at the type of technology that we had that was able to deal with 12 kidnappings being solved to put an end to kidnapping, home invasion. And then the special units such as the Gender-Based Violence Unit, the Transnational Organized Crime Unit, the Social Media Monitoring Unit. All of these different things that have been shut down and dismantled, I think it is important that the present government could look and say, look, this was shut down and dismantled based on political pettiness. We need to bring back these things. Let me talk about the police marine branch and all of these things. So all that we would have seen for the last few years was shutting down, dismantling, and nothing being injected into the country. See, this is what is required. Well,
let me ask Gary, because even before the budget is read, we suspect it's going to be next week, there's been fiscal oversight. There's been, from what I'm seeing through my seat, trying to balance the books and do certain cuts. More so, we have seen it via the cancellation of the body cameras. Now, Yes, they're saying money will be saved. However, what does that suggest when it comes to transparency and us, the citizenry, knowing that the officers are doing their due diligence and doing what's right, and the camera could indeed record these said officers in real time? Because when I saw that particular cut, yes, I know it's going to save funds, but what does that do in terms of the public trust and people questioning if officers will go beyond the boundary when they perform their duties?
This is the perfect example when I speak about trying to allocate your limited national security resources in an effective and efficient manner. I could not believe when I became Commissioner of Police, the commissioners before me did not see the importance of the minimum use of force. When it was the first time I provided to the police service body cameras, tasers, pepper spray, training for minimum use of force. And with the body cameras, doing the research, you do not need 7,000 body cameras to be issued to 7,000 police officers. That is dotish thinking. So when it is I was able to establish 1,200 body cameras, that is all that is required, and I'll tell you why. You're not going to have 7,000 police officers patrol simultaneously. So what you do is that I had about 100 body cameras for each of the 10 odd divisions, and then give body cameras to the elite units, such as SWOT, such as GB, IATF, and so forth. And then we put as a departmental order, standard operational procedure, every single roadblock, patrol, warrant, operation, you must sign for the body camera and turn it on. That is how it was used, and it was effective. After I left, again, McDonald Jacob and Earl Christopher, every single thing that was done, let's shut it down. That was a deal, a departmental order. You had to put the body camera on. If you did not put it on, you will be suspended, you will be removed, you will be disciplined. They decided to ignore that. Thankfully, the present Commissioner of Police seems to be very proactive. He seems to be on the ground. He seems to understand the importance of the type of technology and units and systems. And the body cameras, what happened after? For some strange reason, we had a Commissioner of Police do a tender for body cameras at the price where it is. I was able to get these body cameras for $2,500 from qualified experts who will be doing this for decades. You find a fly-by-night company that nobody ever heard about to purchase the same body cameras for $8,000. That would have been a $14 million TT markup that would have been done instead of it being purchased from persons who are accustomed selling it throughout the world. And that is a perfect example. What the Minister of Homeland Security and the present Commissioner have done is save the taxpayers $14 million without affecting national security. Because as I said, every single police officer who leaves must return that body camera for it to be checked to verify that it was turned on. If you issue a body camera and a police officer keeps it, he's not going to use it. He's not going to turn it on because there are no checks and balances. That is the degree of accountability we speak about.
Let me ask Gary, in terms of areas right now where that massive allocation that's coming, where do you figure we should put a major injection to give the citizenry a sense of safety? Because you mentioned earlier, there's no real return on investment. I think the return, when we talk about national security, is citizens feeling safe in their own land. That to me is the return on investment there, where you could walk the road at night, where you could park a car and you don't have to be nervous thinking that it's going to be broken too. You don't have to, there's not certain zones where you can't go. Certain areas, certain streets you can drive up. That's the reality of Trinidad. So where do you believe we should put a definite injection to give us that kind of sense of safety, the return on investment you speak of?
Yeah, definitely. Taking away the perception and fear of crime. They all talk about crime reduction. That's important. But crime reduction could only go so far. I remember my first year, the murder rate actually went up because it took me a year to transform the police service. Coming down to the end, the last 18 months, then you saw the massive reduction. But even from day one, the perception and fear of crime, people felt safer, even though the crime was actually going up. It happened, I remember in New York, it happened in the mid-90s. Crime was going down dramatically under Mayor Rudy Giuliani, Bill Bratton, Bernard Carrick. But people did not feel safe. So that perception and fear of crime is very critical. It was number one in 2018. By 2021, it became the number 4 concern behind health, education, and the economy. Now it's back to number 1. So I think the important thing for the present law enforcement heads, especially the commissioner and the line ministers, is to put things in place to take away the perception and fear of crime. And what that mean? First, public relations, customer service training with police officers, get them to get back to how it was just a few years ago, where people felt safe and comfortable, not being in a roadblock to be abused and criticized because they know that there's no longer that relationship with the police complaint authority. Put in systems to ensure that public trust and confidence in the police was 14% before 2018. By 2021, it was 59%, from the lowest in the public service to the highest. Now I think it's less than 10%. The present commissioner and the minister have to put things in place to make people feel safe. How you do that? A higher visibility, a rapid response, a heavy deterrent. So things that were shut down, such as the Community Comfort Patrol, the Rapid Response Unit, the Emergency Response Patrol, the Special Operation Response Team. All of these things must be pumped back, that the public must know that if I call 999, I'm not going to be put on hold for 45 minutes. If I know that if it is that somebody has affected me based on a sexual offense, I don't have to go in a police station and be abused because there's a gender-based violence unit with persons qualified. If it is that someone has given me a bounce check, I don't have to walk around a police station wondering where to go. I know I could go online with online reporting, which is what was also shut down. And then having a police app that I can actually take my phone and press this button of a SOS. And within 5 minutes, on most occasions, police could respond to my distress call. Those are the things that people want to feel comfortable to. And I know there's an SOS app, there's a police app, there's a high visibility, there's an elite unit that is not corrupt. Those are the things that should be seen and put in the budget to ensure that the public can start saying, yes, we are seeing a turnaround.
Let's look at the Defense Force, because, I mean, we didn't have an Independence Parade this year, so in terms of the military arsenal and equipment, we didn't get a chance to see any this year at the Queen's Park Savannah. But I recall over the years, I've not really seen any major improvement in that regard. You know, we look at some of our neighbors up north in Jamaica, even Suriname. I've seen recently they have purchased armored vehicles. We're talking here these actual serious armored vehicles. I've never seen that kind of investment, that kind of artillery, unless it's somewhere hidden and hiding and they don't bring it out.
Yeah, it's backward thinking. As Minister of National Security, just about 10 years ago, I did the tender. We got the approval for the APCs. As soon as we left office, the PNM said they didn't see it being of value for police officers going in volatile situations in hotspot areas, being in the back of a pickup.
Yeah, because we still have officers in the back of like a Hilux or a pickup truck with guns. Because, I mean, that to me is real. That is third world. Yeah.
Because Ethelbert and others did not see the importance. Jamaica have it. Jamaica, they also have these zones of special operations, ZOSC. And you have the armored vehicles. I got the armored vehicles similar to what Jamaica, they had Bushmasters, I think was the name. And this was to ensure that police officers can be properly protected and lives can be saved. One of the biggest, greatest achievement I had as the Commissioner of Police was to know that in my 3 years, not one police officer was killed in the line of duty. It wasn't just by good policing, it was by luck. Because the state did not provide the facilities to secure police officers. And not just the police officers. In 1990, 35 years ago, during the attempted coup as a young second lieutenant, we had APCs. And now 35 years later, in a situation based on terrorism, based on improvised explosive devices, we don't. So if there's a repeat of 1990, we do not have the type of vehicles that can go inside there and to take out, neutralize a terrorist hostage negotiation. So all of those there, and the APCs, what happened in fact, is that when I was a commissioner, the politicians took the armored vehicles that I was speaking about and used it for themselves. So we have politicians who saw it was important, as the Minister of National Security, the Attorney General, and so forth. I want to be in a bulletproof vehicle when I go. So these black vehicles, it's bulletproof for me, but not for the police officers and the soldiers. And it shows the small-minded thinking by politicians. So it is not just the armored vehicles, JW. It also has to do with the damming vessels, as I spoke about. I was able to acquire the same number of vessels required to secure our exclusive economic zone and our borders at 1.2 billion less than the 3 OPVs that Patrick Manning was getting. And for 10 years, the PNM decided, look, Gary Griffith and Kamala acquired these diamond vessels, we will not maintain it, we will not utilize it. So for 10 years, our borders were porous because of ignorance, incompetence, and political pettiness. So things such as the diamond vessels, the importance of a border protection unit, the importance of that National Operations Center being utilized. I see someone has been appointed for that National Operations Center, as again, the previous government did not use it for 10 years. It is not just for law enforcement. That National Operations Center can deal with traffic congestion, can deal with major events. So I mean, I'm glad that now it is It has been reignited. But to hear someone say, well, yeah, I know how to handle it because I used to use a walkie-talkie 20 years ago when I was running Central Division. It is not about using a walkie-talkie to communicate with people. That National Operations Center is the most sophisticated thing that NYPD and other places around the world wish they could have. That is going to deal with floods, natural and man-made disasters, major events, traffic congestion. All of those things the NOC can be used for.
I want to move further afield really quick before we wrap things up, because I want to definitely touch on all the agencies. Let's head now to the prison service. Up to yesterday, I had the prison service president with me, treating with the drone issue, speaking of geofencing, and they're still talking about geofencing after drones been dropping off stuff in Port of Spain, in Aruca, for how long now? And I'm just trying to figure out, with the public utterances of the minister suggesting they're going to close down Port of Spain and they're going to bring this new facility, do you see that as short-term, medium-term, or long-term? Obviously there's been a major concern in terms of housing men who are waiting. Most of the prisoners, from what I understand, are actually there in remand waiting for their case to be heard. So that in itself speaks to a justice system that is clearly, leaves much to be desired. But we're looking at just the housing. We want people to be housed in a humane space where there is no contraband and all this sort of activity taking place. What's your take on the prison service, and where should we put, in terms of the budget allocation? Should there be a major emphasis on prison?
I thought definitely. That is when I drafted the Ministry of Justice for the present Prime Minister. This was before 2010, before the 2010 election. I drafted it and I explained the reason for it. We have a situation where recidivism is probably one of the highest in this part of the world, Trinidad and Tobago, because of poor rehabilitation. We have situations with people being kept in remand for a longer period than the maximum sentence of the crime they committed. And then again, so you have persons going into prison and they come out a more seasoned, hardened criminal. So it is not working. The Ministry of Justice was formed for just that. And it is hoped that the present Minister of Justice, I don't know if he understands the concept of that, but the Ministry of Justice was formed to deal with all of these issues. We had situations as Commissioner. There was an individual on 4 occasions in 24 hours. We found out, we were able to track that he had a cell phone in his cell. Every time we seized the cell phone, he got one back in a couple hours. That is how bad the situation is. This is not the prison service. It happens all over the world. What may be required is probably a concept of private-public security, with having the guards guard the guards, which is why I recommended the Border Protection Unit to deal with the massive problem of illegal immigration and illegal entry of drugs and weapons into the country. But as it goes to the prisons, it requires the type of technology that is available. The technology is there. We never embraced that technology. We did it to deal with putting an end to kidnapping a few years ago. We can do it again, but it has to be done in a way that people can embrace it, because it is big business in that prison, where it is that persons have easy access to run systems, and then you have persons after being incarcerated still calling hits on persons on the outside, and then you have the media, unfortunately, targeting politicians for doing their job. I, as the Commissioner of Police, and I was able to meet, I will have met many of the major gang leaders to not virtually threaten them, but to let them know where to get off and to try to get information to assist in reducing crime. We have a present minister doing the same, and he's being targeted because sometimes you have this word called criminologists that our media loves to contact, who have no training, knowledge, or qualification in law enforcement. Their job is to understand the cause of crime. So we need to be very careful before we just point fingers at persons without actually understanding. The prison system needs a major overhaul, and it is hoped that with that Ministry of Justice, that can be done.
Mr. Griffith, as always, sincere thanks. Let's touch base after the budget to see if what we mentioned today, if it's aligned with what the government is putting forward for the next 12 months. All the best, Mr. Griffith.
Take care. Bye.
That's right, Gary Griffith touching base on this Wednesday, 1st of October. So we're going to come back and continue with the discussions on security and more so our neighbors. We're treating with Guyana, Venezuela. Mike Singh joins us again. Yeah, he's Guyanese, and he's going to treat with what's going on via the geopolitical landscape. He's a global security expert. So Mike Singh joins me from Georgetown next.
The you think all dishwashing soaps are the same? With some, they require more effort, and they don't wash as much. Try Dawn and discover its grease cleaning power. Dawn removes stubborn grease easier and faster than others. Additionally, it foam lasts 50% more. With Dawn, you use less product to clean more dishes and save with every wash. Dawn, triple grease cleaning power.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
The detergent smells nice while washing, but when you use the new Downy Intense fabric softener, with its new multi-capsule fragrance, it releases an intense scent that lasts twice as long. With the new Downy Intense, you'll enjoy a rich and delightful fragrance that keeps you feeling fresh 24/7.
Caribbean Connections yet again, and we touch base with global multidimensional security expert Mike Singh. I actually thought Mike was in Georgetown. He's actually way up north this morning in the US. I wouldn't mention where, but Mike, it's been a while, and I'm happy you're on because I really need for you to unpack what's happening. We're looking at the geopolitical climate. There is so much going on in the South Caribbean Sea. Yes, the US would have sent their military muscle to combat, as far as they're concerned, drug trafficking. It's a law and order assignment. We're seeing Venezuela bringing sovereignty into the discussion, speaking to that and bolstering their defense. And in between all of this is your home country, Guyana, who would have had some tensions with Venezuela within recent time. And of course, Trinidad and Tobago right there looking on. Mike, how concerned should we be based on the current geopolitical climate?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. First and foremost, the United States is acting within the realms of the Monroe Doctrine, which states in uncertain terms that Latin America and the Caribbean is its backyard. And now the recent decision by President Trump to equate drug trafficking with terrorism is long overdue. The U.S. presence is justified in the region because, with all things being equal, CARICOM is an impotent and inconsequential institution. As a foreign policy making body, it is proven once again it's deeply divided and cannot be relied upon. The Guyana-Venezuela issues have its genesis in the 1899 border dispute back then, and the subsequent arbitral award of 1900-1901, when Guyana, the US, Britain, and Venezuela all entered into an arbitration process. The award stated with a British and a Russian judge and an American. America didn't want to go to war with Britain, but it was a final and agreed upon border demarcation. You fast forward to the 1940s, and one surviving man, everyone has passed on that were part of the 1899 to 1901 process. And one surviving person, the lawyer for Venezuela, Juan Silver Maleprevos, stated that he had left a document that must not be unsealed until his demise. Well, he passed away in the 1940s, and thereafter, the Venezuelans got the document from his estate, his lawyers was open, in which he cried foul that there was a sellout by the judges in favor of then British Guyana. Now, I can understand by his remorse, but you're not going to wait 50 years after the fact to return a garment or an appliance. It's absurd. So as far as Guyana is concerned and international law is concerned, the current border demarcated between Guyana and Venezuela is the final and true border. In 1966, upon its independence, Venezuela invaded the island of Ancoco, which straddles the Cuyuni River, and seized Guyana's portion. Ever since Guyana found oil, there have been lots of belligerent acts by the Venezuelan military. We have seen them shooting across the border, terrorizing Guyanese that live along the border. And there have also been an exposure of the nexus with the export of Venezuelan conflict gold being smuggled over the border into Guyana, Mike, and then exported back out.
Mike, I want to, of course, thank you there for taking us through the layers and giving us the history. But let's bring it to current time. What's the present mood? Well, again, via the news cycle, I always monitor what's happening. I saw the recently concluded election. There would have been some disturbance with ballot boxes coming on being transported via the river to the mainland, and there was some kind of interference. Generally, what is the current mood as of today between Guyana, your homeland, and your neighbor, Venezuela?
Yeah, it's very tense, and I can tell you, Guyana. You know, in Trinidad, you have a saying, Trini is God. For Guyana, I would say, you know, you'll be late for your own funeral. Guyana does not have the strategic deterrence, which it should have invested in to defend itself, and I blame this upon successive governments. I blame it not only upon Irfan Ali, I blame it upon Granger. No one wanted to invest in what we call strategic deterrence. So let me drill down deeply. Iran, Russia, and the People's Republic of China have invested heavily in terms of sales of deadly military assets to Venezuela. Venezuela is armed to the teeth with MiG, Sukhoi fighter jets, J-1331 fighter jets from China. It has the Shahab drones from Iran, which are deadly, and we have seen these drones in action over Ukraine. So Russia has been paid in oil and gold, China's been paid in oil, gold, and rare earth minerals, and Iran has been paid in a mixture of oil, including uranium, for their plutonium enrichment program. So if the U.S., all things, you know, being fair, if the United States were indeed to use its Tomahawk cruise missiles to launch an attack deep inside Venezuela, you can rest assured that Guyana and Trinidad are going to become caught up in a proxy war. These Shahab drones, Venezuela's got over 3,000, and you've got about 6,000 Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps in Venezuela. Guyana will be no match.
Hold on. You're suggesting, Mike, that those Revolutionary Guards are already in Venezuela, or you're suggesting they could come to Venezuela?
They're already there, my friend. They guard the coal mining operations and the uranium operations. They've been there for a great number of
Hamas,
years.
you're telling me this morning that Hamas is in Venezuela?
Yes, absolutely. Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Yes.
Okay.
I have been singing this on your program for years. I've been saying it to the government of Guyana.
Well, I know you said it, but I thought when you mentioned it, you were suggesting that they might be on their way. I didn't realize they were already boots on the ground.
They're already there, and they would have already crossed the border into Guyana because Guyana's borders are porous, and Guyana's had zero border control. So it's unfortunate, but the horses have already left the stable. And
so you sincerely believe that Russia and Iran and China and these places will get involved if the U.S. were to really, again, the U.S. claim it's law and order. They're trying to crack down on drug trafficking. Many are suggesting it's about regime change. Again, we don't know what tomorrow, next week, or next month will hold. But if, God forbid, it really gets to a place of military confrontation, you are suggesting here that China, Russia, and these countries that would have invested in Venezuela would actively get involved in a fight in the southern Caribbean Sea?
Absolutely. We've seen it in Ukraine. We've seen it elsewhere. Both Guyana and Trinidad have become proxies in this war. And neither countries, without the U.S. support, have the ability today to defend themselves. So what they need to do is, in no short order, ink defense deals with a major arms supplier that has the ability to supply them drones. Because you need anti-drone batteries and those kinds of things. And I can tell you, I've heard this from the experts at the highest level in Guyana and exports outside of Guyana, that if the Venezuelans are to come, they're going to seize strategic airfields in regions 1 and 2 of Guyana, and they will take command and control. Then they will come up our rivers and creeks, by hundreds or thousands in maritime vessels.
Well, based on what you're saying there, Mike, that's when Trinidad will get involved, because our Prime Minister said on many occasions, and I'm sure you would have heard the utterances from our Prime Minister, she says if Venezuela interferes with Guyana in any way, Trinidad and Tobago would get involved. What's your perspective on her utterance, our position, our most vocal stance on this current geopolitical conundrum, as it were?
Your Prime Minister has got what we say in Spanish, cojones. She's got conviction, she's got courage, and she's not afraid to call out the others in her ranks. I mean, you've got some Vidkun Quisling. Vidkun Quisling was a Norwegian collaborator of the Nazis who threw his country under the bus by collaborating with the invading forces of Hitler. And you've got those in CARICOM, and I'm not afraid to call them out. One Mia Motley and one Ralph Gonzalez, who in 2023 had a direct hand in serving up none other, 2023, was it? Yeah, 2023, in serving up Irfan Ali at the sacrificial lamb at some meeting with Maduro in St. Vincent. And that shows you how CARICOM is. A great number of the CARICOM leaders, with the exception of Kamla Prasad-Bisesa, have all been bought and paid for by the Maduro and the Iranians. We know this. You look at their actions. They're in bed with the enemy. They don't give a damn about human rights in Venezuela as long as they get their portion of the spoils. They get free oil. They're not prepared to take a stand. They're not prepared. They don't have backbone. They're spineless. They're rudderless. And their conviction.
So you have rubbished their claim, because they went to UN last week. Up to last week, many of the prime ministers in the region would have mentioned us, or at least this area of the world, our small little corner of the earth, being a zone of peace. Not my words, their words. Your take on their utterance at the UN?
Well, let's begin with the UN is in need of urgent and overarching reform. The UN has become one of the most corrupt and infested institutions of incompetence. All they're good at is issuing statements while people lose their lives elsewhere. They don't have what it takes. It needs reform. I like President Trump says, I like the Trumpian approach to things in dealing with these institutions. All they do is get a lot of money, they live high on the hog, and they elect countries like Cuba and Iran to the UN Security, to the UN Human Rights Council. But Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is an exception to the rule of sycophants, mendicants, and, bootlickers that you have in CARICOM. She stands out. And I give her great kudos despite her small country. She's not afraid to bell the cat. And you Trinis must be extremely happy to have a prime minister like that with such conviction. I think all things being equal, if you gave Kamla Persad-Bissessar the tools of the trade, she will get the job done. I'll go so far as to call her the Margaret Thatcher of the Caribbean.
Okay, the Iron Lady. Mike, I'll have to stick up in there for now. But again, let's touch base, Mike. Let's keep in touch because, so many moving parts, and every single day, every week, there are new developments. So I anticipate a conversation soon. Let's don't take months before we check in. Mike, all the best as always.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me.
You're most welcome. That's global security expert Mike Singh touching base with us. We're going to come back and get details from Jama concerning our weather. Stay tuned.
The best show by far for 2025.
You don't leave out to watch Corn is the #1 comedy of 2025. And this weekend we head to Sapa in San Fernando on Saturday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m.
I never knew these plays were this good. I'm not missing another one.
Tickets available at the Sapa box from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. And at K-Squared Fashion, C3 Center and Brentwood Mall, Chagonas, as well as Friends of Marabella Bagel Roundabout. A play so funny, you can't watch it once. Leave out to watch Corn.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chagonas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Join Pastor Gino Jennings for our second Trinidad and Tobago Holy Convocation at the Centerpoint Mall, Centrum Auditorium, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Services are Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, Centerpoint Mall, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. For information, call 267-989-9189.
5 minutes before 7 on this Wednesday morning. Brand new day, brand new month. Let's go full speed ahead with Jamak. He's up next with our World Weather Wrap. Jamak, good morning.
Good morning. In today's weather wrap, we head over to the Philippines, where a magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck off the coast of their central region, claiming at least 5 lives. The strong tremor late Tuesday night sent residents rushing into the streets, knocked out power in some areas, and damaged buildings, including a hospital and a commercial building. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology warned residents in nearby provinces to stay away from the coast due to a minor sea level disturbance and the potential for unusual waves. The U.S. Geological Service also recorded several strong aftershocks. One of the local governors expressed concern that the damage could be worse than they actually think and requested some additional aid. Rescue operations are underway to find people potentially trapped in the collapsed buildings. The full extent of injuries and destruction is not yet known, however. Now on to the United States, where high waves from the double hurricanes off their southeastern coast on Tuesday, Hurricane Imelda and Hurricane Umberto, caused at least 5 vacation homes to fall into the ocean near Buxton, North Carolina. The Cape Hatteras National Seashore confirmed the news on their website, saying all 5 structures collapsed just after 2 p.m. on Tuesday. That means that 17 homes on Hatteras Island have fallen into the ocean since 2020. The last time a home crumbled into the ocean on the Outer Banks was just 2 weeks ago on September 17th. The Outer Banks of North Carolina are a thin line of islands representing the easternmost part of the state and is usually hit by multiple nor'easters and hurricanes every year, leading to oceanfront homes collapsing into the sea and inundating Highway 12, which runs along the islands. Now let's take a look at our local forecast for today, where we can expect mostly sunny conditions and a bit similar to yesterday, but the difference is that today is slightly drier. So those afternoon showers would be few and far between, with just the low chance of an isolated thunderstorm occurring over Trinidad. A mostly fair evening and night is expected to follow. That's all for today's Weather Wrap. Back to you.
Jamak Sensei, thanks. Let's get ready for the 7 a.m. news update. We come back with your open forum. Your calls up next.
Welcome to Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Do enjoy, Stacey. You want some coffee?
Can I have a bit?
Perfect then.
That's exactly what we need.
Hi, the pool is this way.
Whatever you're here for, we're here for you. Stay smart at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Southern Food Basket. Quality food to fill your basket. Get it all at Southern Food Basket. Fresh goods on every aisle with best prices. For the best market around. High quality meats pound for pound. Get the best for less. Start shopping. Go to Southern Food Basket. Shopping how you like it. High quality at the best prices. Every aisle just wide and spacious. So spend less at Southern Food Basket. Good food at great prices for sure. Come get what you're looking for. Today. You can make your goals unfold. Go get it. Today. You can live your dream. Join the team. Let's do this. Today. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
Good morning. I'm Andrea Perez-Sobers with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC radio network. Drones are being used to outsmart authorities by smuggling cigarettes, mobile phones and drugs into the maximum security. 3 men were arrested on Monday attempting to deliver contraband using a drone. Criminologist Dr. Randy Sipasad says the evolving tactics of smugglers demand stronger surveillance and high-tech solutions. He recommends geofencing, drone guns, or frequency blocking systems to prevent contraband from entering prison airspace. Sipasad warns that anyone, even children, can operate drones, making prisons more vulnerable than ever. He adds that mobile phones also pose challenges, highlighting the need for effective monitoring systems.
Cell jammers are very established technology. They're very effective. So it means that we have to make the technology work. We have to, upgrade our technologies. We have to maintain them so that they will actually be, functional. So if you have an effective cell jammer system in a prison, then you could have any amount of cell phones in the prison. The cell phones themselves will actually be useless because they simply wouldn't be able to make a call.
A 47-year-old woman who fought for her life for nearly 2 weeks has died. Rhea George has been clinging to life at the San Fernando General Hospital since the blast 7 weeks ago, reportedly caused by a leaking gas tank. But on Saturday, her fight came to an end. Rhea resided at Diggity Village, Debe, with her husband. She woke up around 5 o'clock that morning to prepare lunch for herself and her husband before work. She was a supervisor at MS Food City supermarket. Her husband was still in bed when the explosion occurred.
We didn't smell no gas through the night, but when she got up in the morning to cook, the gas was already leaked. So she pulled out the tank from underneath. She fixed back the head that had cloth over it. And the gas man said, anytime you had a problem, you take out the rubber and you flip it over and put it back. But not knowing the gas already leaked. So when she scratched, when she light, boom.
Those were your 7 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 a.m. on the TBC Radio Network.
Ready to discover the tastiest spots in Trinidad and Tobago? Restaurant Week is here from September 26th to October 5th with 100 participating restaurants across Trinidad and Tobago. We've got culinary experiences for every craving without draining your wallet, with prices starting at just $175 TT dollars, all taxes included. Don't miss out. Head to our website and social media pages to explore menus and plan all your food adventures. Come for the food. Stay for the flavor.
Three minutes after 7 o'clock, let's get you in the action, make you, well, I can't make you do anything, but I'm going to invite you to step into the fold and bring your commentary. It's open forum time, 624-8721-627-8658, a very vibrant first hour. Former National Security Minister Gary Griffith and then global security expert Mike Singh touching base, speaking to, in real time, the tensions between Venezuela and Guyana and some serious information coming forward there. Let's head to St. James first. Good morning, St. James.
Pleasant good morning, Jason.
Oh, it's Shagonas. Shagonas, welcome.
Yeah, pleasant good morning, Jason. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Prime Minister, right, on securing that deal which he secured relevant to the U.S. in connection with the whole investment, right?
With the Dragon Dance, right? With the Dragon Gas correct, deal. Right? But let me ask you though. Let me ask you, Shagonas, and I want to get your perspective on this. I look forward to your commentary. How you feel we're going to broker this deal? Obviously, we would have had, a certain particular position concerning Venezuela. Even you would have had a particular position regarding Venezuela. How do we now sit on the table and broker this deal? Walk me through it.
Sorry?
I say, how do we sit down on the table now with Venezuela and really try to make this, because it takes two to tango. We can't dance by ourselves. So if the Dragon is going to dance, it means we have to now sit down with Venezuela, who we were very critical right. in terms of our remarks right. in the last couple of months. So walk me through that part of it.
All right, so here's this, right? Rice have nothing to do with flour. You understand what I'm saying? There are two different matters. One matter is pertinent, right, to the whole drug industry and the guns and everything like that, right, as for where the underworld is concerned, as for where crime is concerned. The other one is where productivity is concerned in connection with the gas, right? And we have to be mature and responsible about things, all right? If it is that we have to sit down with Venezuela in connection with the Dragon gas deal, right? I don't see any problem where that is concerned, right? That you can't marry two matters, right? If it is that Venezuela is thinking because of the fact that they have an interest as for where this whole Dragon gas deal is concerned, so that gives them a green light to do whatever they want from a criminal perspective. No, it doesn't work that way. You understand what I'm saying? So I see no problem. If it is that these people are mature and responsible enough, I see no problem with them sitting down with us, right, in connection with this. If they have an issue with the whole criminal prospect of things, right, then therefore their thinking is wrong as for where it pertains to that. Understand what I'm saying? So you cannot marry the two matters, right? I want to first and foremost congratulate the Prime Minister in connection, right, with securing this, right? The second thing I want to do, you wouldn't, right, Jason?
Yeah, listening, go ahead.
I want to correct Santa Cruz yesterday, right? He would have made a statement a few weeks ago that they should fire Philip Alexander for the comment that he made. Now, Philip Alexander understood that he talked out of turn and he would have made an inappropriate statement. As a result of that, he apologized for the sincerity of his heart, I believe. He apologized, right? And he came forward and he said that he was wrong, right? And that he meant no harm in any way, all right? And he apologized for the statement and he stood by his leader. That is what not only being a true politician, but being a true man is about. And the PNM should take a page from what it is he did by coming out and apologizing. Because let's be frank, for the last 10 years, has Rowley ever come out and apologized for anything? Right? So, Santa Cruz, if it is that you want to talk about dismissing parliamentarians, you would have remembered, Jason, a few years ago, right, when a certain PNM member made a statement in connection with the Kolkata ship. You remember that?
Barely, but yeah, I remember it was kind of distasteful.
Right. No, the question is, did they fire him or did they put him on the backbench? Right? Did they fire him or did they put him on the backbench? So don't be too quick to jump and say that this one should go and that one should go as a reflection that the government is doing. But no, don't do that.
Thanks,
right?
Shagonas. I appreciate, man. Thanks as always, Shagonas, for touching base. Let's continue with some more. 624. Well, look at that, Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz, you get a chance to respond immediately. Santa Cruz, good morning.
Yes, well, yes. To respond to that, one of the things, well, you know, you put me in as part of, well, to respond to Shagonas, he has to understand his very prime minister said she disassociates herself with what he said. So it means to say that he said something that is wrong, and you cannot, as a minister of government, yes, you cannot, as a minister of government, make that kind of statement and come back tomorrow and apologize. You're talking about implicating a sovereign state like India into something that they have absolutely nothing to do with. But my point this morning is the whole question of the. Yeah, my point this morning, Jay, is the whole question of the Dragon gas deal. And I believe that the government is not fair in terms of complimenting the People's National Movement, Stuart Young and Dr. Keith Rowley, for actually having this Dragon gas deal to benefit Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Maduro had nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago not benefiting from the gas deal. That is the imperialist America who did that. And they now come in to pretend, okay, look, we will give all of that. That should never be. We are a sovereign country like Venezuela, and we have an arrangement with Venezuela. Why should America determine whether or not we have a gas deal or not with Venezuela?
Santa Cruz.
Then the other point is, Jay, that we need to listen to is how do Trinidad and Tobago move forward with the Dragon gas deal, knowing fully well in terms of the take umbrage to Kamala Prasad-Bisasa, kill them, and the take umbrage to the same Alexander, nuke them. You have to now go and talk to these people who you talk about annihilating. You understand me? And we need to look at that. I do not believe this Dragon gas deal will reach anywhere, even if America say, go ahead. I don't think that will reach so, because you have to understand, Rubio is just the Secretary of State. Donald Trump could wake up in the morning and decide, hey, that's not it.
That's Santa Cruz, because now I'm going to ask you, how do we approach negotiation and what kind of diplomacy? It will have to be some real strategic diplomacy for this Dragon to really dance. And as I mentioned earlier, it takes two to tango. Yeah, you can dance by yourself, but it's not as fun as opposed to when you dance with someone. So let's see how things pan out. Let's start to Diego Martin. Diego Martin, good morning, Diego.
Good morning, JW.
Yes.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Nikisha, the team, I met Ms. Diego Martin on Monday. So,
yes.
Yeah, it was so nice to finally put a face to the voice.
Yes, nice meeting you. JW, I listened to Mr. Bitter / Shogunas just now. He forgot when Stuart Young made a statement when he and Minister Imbert was coming out of Parliament. He made a statement derogatory, yes, about Kamala Persad-Bissessar. He apologized. And all you nail him to the cross, all you wanted Dr. Rowley to fire him, to remove him. So suddenly, Philip Alexander, with his disrespectful self, I don't know how Kamala made this man a minister. She better be careful because he could bring down she government. How Philip Alexander could be making statements like that, and you saying, this is ludicrous. I just don't understand it. And they feel, I listening to Ralph Maraj this morning, Basil Pandey was so right. Politics have a morality of its own, talking about, and this dragon deal will be successful. When George Young went and signed it, all you think it's that same prime minister talk about the dragon dead, and suddenly she feel, UNC and the prime minister really feel Maduro is like those people who sang Yellow is the Code. She really feels so. She will get a surprise because you can't say, I want to know how they come in and do this dragon deal in our waters. When you say open fire on them and kill them, how they come in here and look. Man, look, JW, this thing is so laughable, eh? It is laughable. You have a blessed morning.
Morning, Diego. Drink your tea and calm down. Yeah, Diego Martin, obviously, I mean, let's be real again. I try to sit here. I can't say try to. I sit here every morning and I try my very best to listen to all sides of the argument. But I'll give my perspective after we hear from the last caller. I'll give my closing remarks. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, kind of lost out there because, yeah, we have one more. Could we? Yeah, let's get probably one more person in to at least balance off the discussion. But as I was suggesting this morning, it's good to see that, our meeting was able to yield some good fruit, some great returns. I mean, obviously, to hear that the dragon is back on, it's a good look. But how do we proceed? What's the step forward? That's the real question. Final call. Good morning. Lost that one too. Yeah, so I mean, the saying, as said here by the Guardian, the dragon will dance. But the question is it going to be a duet? Is it going to be a tango? Or is it going to be a solo dance? And I guess it's really based on our negotiation skills and real high-level diplomacy. I think there's going to be definitely, there must be a changing of the tone, the rhetoric, a cooling of the temperature, as it were, so that this could become a reality. Very interesting development indeed, and we'll stay on top of all via this news story. Let's get ready for Tobago Talks. When Tobago Talk, we listen. We come back after the break with the PNM, the minority leader. He's under the PNM umbrella, Kelvon Morris, to treat with a budget 2025, 2026, and concerns for our beautiful sister island, Tobago. Tobago Talks, up next.
Tile Depot Diwali sale on now. Stunning floors at dazzling prices. 12 by 12, $750. 17 by 17, $975. 18 by 18, $995. 20 by 20, $15.95. And 22 by 22, only $20. Visit Tile Depot Limited today at Banyan Chase Village. Call 234-4402.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too.
This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
This and every Wednesday, Tobago Talks, and when Tobago Talk, we listen. Minority Leader Kelvon Morris joins me on the Zoom line, representing the interests of Tobago and, of course, the Tobago House of Assembly. Mr. Morris, always great to see you. Welcome to the program.
Always a pleasure to be on this program talking about Tobago's business. Let me say a pleasant good morning to you, Jason, and to all our citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm looking at the numbers, so let's start with that. Last allocation to Tobago to manage the affairs would have been $2.599 billion. I know the Chief Secretary and many in Tobago said that was not going to make it. It will not really bring the development and the kind of injection that's needed. So let's start firstly with the figures. What you feel will be truly appropriate allocation to ensure that Tobago is able to turn the economic wheel and to treat with some of the issues I'm hearing of major hotels not having water and, you know, to me that should be an easy fix. But nonetheless, what you think should be the correct or at least the appropriate allocation in the budget for Tobago?
Well, thank you for raising that point, Jace. And I think any allocation now that Tobago receives have to be taken into context. That's in November of 2024, the PNM, through a process that started right here in Tobago, took two bills to the Parliament, one of which was the Tobago Island Government Bill. And that bill required a simple majority, meaning the government of the day, which was the PNM, using its simple majority of having at the time 22 members of parliament to the 19 could have passed that bill. And so the PNM supported that bill, which included a 6.8% minimum guaranteed allocation for the Tobago House of Assembly. And as it currently stands, that bill is now an act of the Parliament passed by the PNM, and the only thing that stood in the way of that bill coming to life is the fact that Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine encouraged the UNC not to support the parent bill, which was the Tobago Constitution Amendment Bill, which needed a 3/5 majority. And so that bill was not supported by the UNC, and therefore the very thing to give the 6.8% allocation life remains outstanding. And therefore I am calling again this morning on both the Chief Secretary and the current government, the current UNC government, to with a sense of haste and the priority, ensure that that Constitution Amendment Bill comes back to the fore and is passed so that Tobago can get the guaranteed 6.8%. Because I say this in the context that anything Tobago received that is less than 6.8% is in fact a disservice to the current law and the current arrangement. Because as you would recall, and you would hear the arguments made by people like Vanus James, etc., what Tobago requires at this time, due to its historical and perennial underdevelopment and lack of development funding, is now an accelerated kind of injection as to help Tobago to help Trinidad and Tobago. Because if Tobago does well, Tobago will help Trinidad and Tobago treat with the diversification trust, especially as it treats with our agriculture and agro-processing to reduce our food import bill, and at the same time expand our tourism contribution as to assist with our current foreign exchange, foreign reserve crisis.
Well, Mr. Morris, I would see, well, I guess the budget we will see for ourselves what the allocation is, if indeed it will lean towards that 6% that you mentioned there in terms of the overall picture, because many, including yourself, would have accused the Chief Secretary of being in the bosom, really, in the good, I don't even know how to put it, really, kind of rubbing shoulders, as it will, with the current government. So let's see if indeed, I mean, we can't confirm, we can't refute, but let's see if indeed there is good relations between the Chief Secretary and the current government, if this will now transfer into a higher allocation, which could be a benefit to the Sister Isle.
Well, interestingly, Jason, during the budget presentation by the Secretary of Finance, she was very clear and adamant, sending a strong message to the UNC government at that time, that anything less, they have requested 5.9% of the national budget, which they pegged at would be somewhere around $65 billion, and therefore they are expecting about $3.8 billion from that allocation. But interestingly, having said that she will not accept anything less than that 5.9%, else the government will have a hard time with them, she has recently gone soft and is now saying that she is willing to compromise and accept 5%. And therefore, what Tobago is seeing at this time is a complete selling out of Tobago by both Mr. Farley Augustine as to appease his UNC friends. You will recall prior, this current TPP administration has accused the PNM of deliberately sabotaging Tobago's development by underfunding Tobago. And therefore, it is quite interesting that having an arrangement where the PNM provided for a guaranteed 6.8%, the Secretary of Finance, who first said 5.9% or nothing, is now willing to accept 5%. And therefore, Tobagonians are watching with their eyes wide open as to the continuous sellout of Tobago under this current Farley Chavez-led TPP administration.
Let me ask, I know lots of the money allocated to Tobago is to treat with recurrent expenditure, to pay THA staff. I know lots of the island, the employer is indeed the Tobago House of Assembly. What is put aside really for development? Out of the chunk, what is given? What's put aside for ultimately? Because I'm seeing some of the roads in Tobago are questionable right now. I was always impressed with Tobago's road network, very smooth. And I realized we might have to get something and pave in Tobago soon.
Please come. The people of Tobago, whether they live Argyle, whether they live Palo Tuve, whether they're even down in the city, Scarborough, or even Crown Point, they are begging, hoping, pleading for some relief when it comes to our roads. Just yesterday, I highlighted one such road in my electoral district of Wim Crescent. There are craters. You can literally disappear and end up into another country, depending on how you enter those roads. And therefore, what we are seeing in Tobago, while we get the unique thing about Tobago, as much as we talk about recurrent and development, the Tobago House of Assembly is so empowered as to reprioritize and rearrange its allocation as to treat with its development needs. We are saying that historically, it has never been enough to take Tobago to where Tobago needs to be in terms of creating a robust, productive economy in Tobago. However, what you are seeing clearly in Tobago at this time is a clear sense of mismanagement, misprioritization of resources, and misallocation of resources to the point that even the indigenous Tobago businesses are suffering because this administration has taken a policy to blacklist major indigenous Tobago business in preference for their financiers from outside of Tobago. And because so much of the resources are leaking out of the island, it has actually caused a shrink in the Tobago economy. When you look at the construction sector, it has declined by as much as 25%. Tourism is on an all-time decline of over 6%, and our agricultural sector is at its lowest it has ever been. It has declined by 4%.
So let me ask, I've always heard that particular claim that lots of the contracts and some of the major projects, it's been given, well, I guess everybody will tender, but I'm hearing that contractors who have their business set up in Trinidad are the ones getting the business and the food, as it will, is not being able to spread throughout Tobago. I mean, that's been the claim. I don't live on the island, I don't know what's going on.
By way of example, there's an ECC Early Childhood Center to be built at Corlan. That ECC center is to cost $7 million. And in asking the question at the last Assembly Legislature sitting, I found out that that contract was again awarded to a contractor from Point Lisas, Trinidad. And I'm saying, if you're trying to build a Tobago economy, you are telling me that there's absolutely no contractor in Tobago that can build an early childhood center? How come they were building roads before? They were building community centers. They even built hotels and hospitals. And now you are telling me there's no Tobago contractor qualified to so do? There's a there's the lighting of the Louis D'Or playing field in Tobago as we speak. Again, that has been awarded to a contractor outside of Tobago. And it is not that we are against the Trinidad contractors participating in the development of Tobago. But the challenge we have is that when such a policy is taken where you are going to sideline Tobago contractors in preference for contractors from outside, especially where they are bringing all the workers from Trinidad, all their materials and equipment from Trinidad, that then puts a pressure not just on the contractor himself, but employment in Tobago, where many of these contractors have to now relieve workers. Over 1,500 workers have faced the breadline due to this policy. It means our hardware and those establishments that would have benefited from businesses, they too are suffering and feeling the pain because the materials are coming from outside of Tobago. And therefore, that to which should have been going to ensure that the money circulates in Tobago is no longer circulating in a way that can bring economic prosperity to the people of Tobago. And therefore, that is the challenge I have as a Tobagonian, seeing that this allocation is coming, and in one hand as we receive it, it is leaving in the other hand. And this is being deliberately done by Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine and the policies that they have taken where they are blacklisting Tobago contractors. As we speak, there are contractors owed from since for works done under the previous PNM administration, even now 4 years later. And these contractors have the banks knocking on their doors, ready to foreclose. And you would think a Tobago House of Assembly that is Tobago-centric will ensure that they put the interests of Tobagonians first. And that is what we are saying at this time. Tobagonians' interests are placed on the back burner in preference for this administration and their financiers from Trinidad.
What's the latest with CPEP workers, URP workers? What's going on in that regard? I know obviously many here are looking to find alternative means of sustaining themselves. What's the current climate in Tobago?
Well, there's two things playing off, and this is something I wanted to raise with the national public because it would have went under the radar last Thursday, this administration, in its dying days, while it is basically on life support, with 3 months to go, came to the Tobago House of Assembly legislature with a motion purporting to create some kind of avenue to compensate former assembly members by way of some retirement benefit. And when we interrogated the intent of that motion, coming out in the roundup from the leader of Assembly Business, Secretary Zorisha Hackett, was that they were really attempting to alter the provisions of the current pension arrangements for Assembly members, where it requires a contributory arrangement and you must serve at least 6 years or 2 terms to benefit from that arrangement. They are now attempting to alter that arrangement to reduce the pension requirements to only 4 years or 1 term, ensuring that notwithstanding whatever happens in this current elections coming, they will receive pension benefits. And they're even going further. There's a proposal, for the first time they agreed with Mr. Watson Duke in the Assembly since they fell out, where he is proposing to reduce the pensionable age from 55 years to 45 years and to also make the pension non-contributory. And hear this, they want to alter the highest, right now the pension scheme is 2-tier. If you serve 6 to 10 years, you get 40% of your highest salary earned. If you serve over 10 years, then you get 55% of your highest salary earned. Mr. Duke would have recommended, and they accepted that recommendation, that it now moves to 66% across the board of your highest salary earned. That means a secretary now will earn for the rest of their life after 1 term over $20,000 in pension at the age of 45 or above. And therefore, this is an assembly and an administration that is self-serving, self-seeking, and only about securing their interests. While you have CPEP people, you have URP people who are outstanding gratuity payments, etc. There's a court judgment that expired that gave this current assembly up to September the 30th to pay terminated workers from a unit called the Community Partnership Unit. Those workers took that issue to the industrial court. The industrial court ruled in their favor, awarded 13 employees over $4 million. And up to yesterday, which was the last day for that judgment to be honored, the chief secretary has ignored the judgment while he's trying to secure his pension.
Well, Mr. Morris, keep us posted. Let's have a discussion post-budget 2025-2026. And as always, sincere thanks for your time. All the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Minority Leader there, THA, Kelvon Morris. Tobago Talks every single Wednesday. Up next, again, we continue with our pre-budget discussion, and there's going to be a pre-budget forum. It's happening at the University of the West Indies tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. Dr. Indira Sajiwan joins me to give all the intimate details. Stand by.
Join Pastor Gino Jennings for our second Trinidad and Tobago Holy Convocation at the Centerpoint Mall, Centrum Auditorium, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Services are Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, Centerpoint Mall, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. For information, call 267-989-9189.
Fill in the blank, 100 men. Oh no, I got a really hot date tonight and I don't have what?
A girl to take.
What I'm gonna do is, just for the sake of time, I'm gonna head on over this.
Two families, one game, endless fun. Family Feud, weekdays at 5:30 p.m. only on CNC3.
Welcome back. As mentioned, the Institute of International Relations present a pre-budget forum. It's a major happening tomorrow at the Nur Hassan Ali Auditorium in St. Augustine at the University of the West Indies. To bring some details, we welcome Dr. Indira Sajiwan, economist. And I must say, Dr. Sajiwan, I'm looking at the lineup, some heavy hitters tomorrow from 5 to 7. Serious discussions taking place for this pre-budget forum. I want to get some details.
Absolutely. So it is organized by the Institute of International Relations, pre-budget forum entitled Reimagining Economic Possibilities, and it will be at the Nur Hassan Ali Auditorium. That is the law faculty auditorium. It is in person. We're really hoping persons will come and actually sit in the auditorium and engage with this very learned panel.
So, Dr. Sajiwan, just give me 1 second. That you said the law faculty auditorium. So that is not so much on the main campus. That is the one opposite Santa Margarita.
No. That is Hewarden. This is on the main campus. It is where the Natural Sciences Department is, where in the Institute of International Relations is. Right. So you come on the main campus, either through the south or the north gate, and you just ask the security where the Nur Hassan Ali auditorium is, and they will tell you where to find it.
I'm glad I found out that because because as you said, law faculty, my mind went so yes, glad that we got the location. Fantastic. Yeah. So what's the process like? We have to pre-register or anything to be part of this?
Well, it would be ideal if you pre-registered, even if you're not pre-registered, because it's face-to-face, all are welcome to come. We have enough seating arrangements for persons to just show up tomorrow evening, but there is a registration process. The Institute is through different mechanisms. Social media is advertising it. So if you go on the university marketing website, you will actually see it. It's on my Facebook page for those of you who follow me. So you can, in fact, go on and register for it. But we're really encouraging persons from a wide cross-section of society to come out and participate and give your ideas. For too long, we're saying that we are going down traditional pathways to growth and development. And we need new ways, we need new ideas. And this is a forum that we are hoping will bring some new ideas to the table as we prepare for Budget 2026.
Indeed, well said. Who are some of the key stakeholders? I know you'll be there. I'm looking at the flyer right now. So yes. Walk us through who's going to be on the panel.
Well, myself, Dr. Dave Siratan, who is the acting director of the Institute of International Relations, expert in monetary economics. So he will cover matters such as the forex issue, anything related to the management of the monetary aspect of the economy will be covered by him. We have business represented, manufacturing, importantly, because export manufacturing in the non-energy sector is critical to our pathways going forward. We have Dr. Ramesh Ramdeen, who is the CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association. He's on the panel. And then we didn't think that we should go forward with a session like this without really focusing heavy on Tobago. So Dr. Vanus James from Tobago, an expert economist, development economist that we're all familiar with, he joins us to talk specifically about Tobago, because we're hearing a lot about tourism, coming up in the national discourse as a way forward, especially given the foreign exchange change crisis. So Dr. Vanessa James will focus in on Tobago, because Tobago plays a very important part in that pathway to revitalizing tourism.
Indeed, and I was just talking to the minority leader there from Tobago, and I want to get a perspective from you really quick on Tobago, because they've requested 5.9. Well, we're hearing now about 5% of the national budget, which should take them somewhere into the 3.8 billion figure. So much of Tobago's budget is to deal with recurrent expenditure, to pay staff who work at the THA and to just pay workers. I wonder what's remaining, what can be done in the short and medium term to really bring that development that's much needed for Tobago to bring a boost so that their economic wheel could turn?
Well, historically, they don't ever get the amount that they ask for. So generally, they ask for the 5%. However, they generally get just below $3 billion. And you are correct. It leaves very little for them to deal with development issues. So yes, it would be very good if this budget can address that aspect of Tobago. In fact, historically, the development aspect of their budget, what they ask for, it generally falls short by about 80%, which is quite significant. So yes, that is an area that needs to be focused on if we want Tobago to be able to realize its potential. The new airport and getting that operationalized is also critical. Negotiating airlift out of actual the destination from which its major arrivals come from is also very important. So there's quite a bit of work to be done for Tobago. Some needing that kind of capital investment, others needing negotiation, but it's a kind of chicken and egg, because if you don't have the capacity to bring the flights in via the new airport, negotiating the arrival really doesn't make much sense. So there's a lot of work to be done. Let us put it that way for us to get it. But we have to get the work done. No longer can we, even though we are hearing again the emergence of the Dragon deal potentially can come on stream. There's so much that needs to be done to get that anywhere it needs to go. And even if that comes over, we should not in this moment vie away from the issue of non-energy diversification. In fact, I would like to hear this budget fix for over the next 5 years to fix a reducing amount of which the hydrocarbon sector should contribute to our GDP on a declining scale. Yeah. So it's now, let's say it's about 40%. Let us move that down. It should be about 15% if I were this government by the end of this time period. And in that period, I would be aggressively looking at diversifying the economic base so that we are not so vulnerable as we have been and we continue to be to what happens in the global market for hydrocarbon.
Of course, well said. And, you look at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you look at United Arab Emirates, they've made the pivot, especially UAE. They've made that pivot since decades now into luxury tourism, and we all see what the product is. So it's,
even within the energy space, Jason, they are aggressively moving into renewable energy.
Yes.
So, we also have to confront the reality that CBAM, which is the border tax in Europe, in the UK, these things are coming into being very, very soon. It means that any good that is produced using fossil fuel will then be subjected to a higher tax entering these markets. Yeah. So we have to be real to these things. So Trinidad and Tobago, even as we should obviously monetize as quickly as we can anything that is left in the hydrocarbon space, we should as aggressively be focused on the issue of renewable energy. So, these are the kind of conversations we are going to be having tomorrow, and therefore we really want persons from the business sector, from the labor movement, from the agricultural sector, from the tourism sector. We want you to come and have the opportunity to voice your perspective in terms of how this country goes forward. For too long, we have left it to those who manage us on our behalf, and I think it is time that a wider spectrum of voices be heard, and this creates that forum. I know we have gone the route of mostly virtual meetings and conversations, and a lot of people have been asking us for that, but we really want to encourage filling the room tomorrow at Nur Hassan Ali Auditorium so that we can have that face-to-face conversation, because nothing beats that in-person opportunity to trash things out.
Dr. Sajiwan, as always, sincere thanks. Let's put the flyer up one more time so everyone looking on could take the details. It's happening literally tomorrow, and it's from 5 to 7. Yes, you could pre-register, but they are also accepting the walk-in, and it's a chance to hear from some of the leaders in their field. It's your pre-budget forum, and again, the theme, reimagining economic possibilities. Dr. Sajiwan, all the best. And let's touch base.
If I could just add very quickly, at the end of the formal part of it, we are hoping persons will stay on afterwards for a mix and mingle, and for us to have that very important, one-on-one conversation after. We have some light refreshments, so we are hoping that too will be part of the entire package.
That's where the second meeting will take place. That's part 2.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All the best. It's going to be a great success tomorrow, Dr. Indira. Yes, Dr. Indira Sajiwan touching base. Up next, we get you ready for harvest on Sunday. Yes, St. Joseph, we talking here down inside the valley, Maracas Valley, St. Michael's RC annual harvest. It's happening this Sunday. Hazel Michelle Daniel, and Father Woodruff, they join me to give details.
Food basket. Food basket, nation's #1 supermarket, bakery, restaurant, meat market, fresh producers, everything fantastic. For everyday low price, things real nice. Come in once, but to come back twice. Wholesale, retail, everything for you. A remush, I wanna shop, let go view. Food basket, the nation's #1 supermarket, bakery, restaurant, meat market, fresh producers, everything fantastic. Food basket, hypermarket, Arima, where shopping is a pleasure and the price is right.
Join Pastor Gino Jennings for our second Trinidad and Tobago Holy Convocation at the Centerpoint Mall, Centrum Auditorium, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Services are Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, Centerpoint Mall, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. For information, call 267-989-9189.
My own personal motto is to show citizens of this country that our stories can be told in a professional and international standard. I want to show them that the journalism they consume on cable TV can also exist here. Each day, that's my focus, that's my drive, to show the stories of our communities, of our people, matter just as much as anywhere else in the world. That's why we are where you are.
Each day I ask myself, how can our country be better than it was yesterday? We all hope for a better society, but not many understand the power of their influence to change the world around them. A small act of kindness holds as much power as a camera, a mic, or even a seat in the parliament when it comes to achieving societal development. I understand that my purpose extends beyond being a mere observer. I am an active participant in shaping the world around me. From the stories I write to the newscast I produce, it is my hope that everyone is heard and understood. We are where you are.
parents will do it. They'll go to work, have a day, bro, and come on and take that stress out on you.
Welcome to another episode of Manhood.
Everybody will do what they need to do to get what they want.
And if they can't fit in to the norms, then what do they do? They're surviving.
Not everybody wants to kill me because I might be all kind of thing, but I think I'm a good person.
The aspect of a mentor seeing something in you that you can't see in yourself.
Check yourself, because you shaped that generation.
Are we losing in many ways the values?
Since I have this Parkinson's diagnosis, there's a group, a very small group, type group, who will always look after me.
Well, it's harvest season, and it's amazing how a year literally passed like that. I recall it felt like last month we were talking about harvest for St. Michael's RC. It's back again. It's always a tremendous one, and this is down in the valley. We're talking here right to the very end, that beautiful scenic drive. You go taking the mass, and then you could stay for the entire day. There is so much on offer. And to share with us all the intimate details, Father Woodruff is here with me yet again, and I have with us, well, with me and, of course, with UT&T, Hazelan, Michelle, Daniel. I wouldn't lie, that's your whole name, Hazelan.
Yes, that's my whole government name.
Clearly. Welcome, guys. Harvest time again.
Thanks for having us, JW. Say again.
What time is actual service? I want to deal with the service first, and then we get to the harvest.
Sure. This year, we actually decided to have the mass at 9 a.m. Usually it's at 8 a.m. We're actually thinking especially about people coming from a distance. So mass starts at 9 a.m. We have the real privilege that His Grace the Archbishop is celebrating at mass, and then he will bless the stalls after.
Fantastic. So more than likely people, after mass, they just transition straight in to the harvest. I guess people who live in the area go home and probably, come back or whatever, but especially those who come from far afield. Yes. What color band maxis you would normally see coming for the harvest?
I think you could think of any color possible.
So all yellow band from the west? Green, wow.
Brown.
So that means central and south?
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The first set of people that I know of who tend to come from Library Point Fortin. So there's a private 8-seater, and they come as early as just before 7 a.m.
Fantastic, fantastic. Let me bring Hazel in. What's on offer in terms of the stores, the entertainment? I know you all go all out.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing you said that, because I'm actually the one that headlining the entertainment. So we have a lot of performers lined up.
You're bringing Parang again?
Of course. It's Maracas Valley, the land of Parang. So we have 4 bands with us this year. We have Mantis de Paranda, Los Amigos Cantadores, our very own from our parish, Los Paranderos de San Miguel, and of course, Los Alumnos de San Juan. And we also have a special surprise band, so everyone has to be there to see that surprise.
What time performances are you looking to kick things off with?
We have so much that this year we have to start like around 11:45 in the morning. Yeah, so it's plenty.
And what normally is your lock-off time? You'll go until what time? Because I know people will normally trips around after, and you know, people will just filter out, but officially the curtains pull down around what time?
Oh, you mean 6:30 p.m. Yeah. They're not Trinidad on time, so we hoping that people come before that 6:30 p.m. so we could be finished up. Yeah.
Wow. Food? Talk to me about the food.
Yeah. We have barbecue lunches, so we have pork, chicken, and fish. We have breakfast that'll be on sale. That's being run by our NGO Elijah's Bread. And we're also going to have things, in the harvest, people like kind of cutters, small things. So we have fried pork and chicken and chips. We have tacos this year for the first time. We have doubles, we have pylori, so a little of everything. Yeah.
What's your recommendation, Father, for the parking? Because I know when things get extremely hectic, that's a concern.
Sure. So we have a good relationship with our Maracas Community Center. So parking can happen at the community centers. We're actually encouraging people to go to the Maracas Community Center. The walk is a short walk down. In terms of safety, we have security officers. We also have the great support of Sergeant Badesi at the Maracas Police Station and his officers. So we know it's safe and secure. So parking at the community center and walk down is the safest bet.
Fantastic. So Hazelan, we're talking here 4 bands with a surprise inside there. This is a massive undertaking. I mean, we're talking sound check, change over,
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yes, and this year we wanted to, as it's the Jubilee celebration, we wanted to have like a diverse culture. So we have a mixture of tassa, rhythm section, extempo. So it's a lot.
Father, would you say this more or less, it's kind of lining up to be probably one of the biggest harvests so far? Today?
I mean, I'm only around the parish a certain number of years, but listening to people, it sounds that way. And Michelle mentioned the Jubilee, and the Catholic Church, every 25 years we celebrate this celebration, a year of Jubilee, a year of ecstasy. So we wanted it to be special. So time will tell. We're looking forward to people coming Sunday to see if it really will be the biggest.
I trust it would, because this I can't recall last year didn't have 4 bands.
No.
Yeah, so it's like it's just getting bigger and it's growing.
Steel pan, we have steel pan also.
Yeah, this is truly. I guess it's really the Jubilee celebration. They're going all out.
Indeed.
And it's even a double celebration because it's a certain priest birthday.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know that was
yes, so it's also
what if that priest is in the building, right?
No.
Excellent.
Because you mentioned the parang bands, do need to give a shout out to Alicia Jagas and the National Parang Association. So we've been partnering with them. We're actually going to have 3 national parang events, including the harvest. So it's thanks to the NPAT that we're able to have all these bands.
Fantastic. I must ask about artisans. I know normally every harvest will have, some of your crafts people in the area. Will we be getting that also?
I wouldn't say so much craft, but what we definitely have is some of our culinary engineers, we like to call them.
Okay.
So Maracas Valley has that heritage. In addition to parang, we're going to have local cocoa tea, right? So it's not made by Kess, unfortunately, but somebody's very cocoa tea. We have pone, a lot of the local delights. So we definitely have that.
Listen, it's all happening this Sunday. Don't miss a minute of it. Mass now, it's 9, a little bit later, so you could get there, and after the Mass, you transition, go straight into the harvest. It's an all-day celebration. It's going to be a great celebration. Listen, you see the theme? We harvest, we celebration, right? Is a Jubilee thing. I love it. Father, thank you so much, Hazelan.
Thank you.
All the best. It's going to be tremendous. And with that, we wrap things up on this beautiful Wednesday the 1st of October. Great being part of it with you this morning. Be safe, God spare. I'm back for more tomorrow. Until then, have a safe and productive day, T&T.
Morning Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong.
You're watching CNC3. As an affiliate of Al Jazeera, we now join their current program.